Hey, this is Dan Harris, host of the 10% Happier podcast. I'm here to tell you about a new series we're running this September on 10% Happier. The goal is to help you do your life better. The series is called Reset. It's all about hitting the reset button in many of the most crucial areas of your life. Each week, we'll tackle a topic like how to reset your nervous system, how to reset your relationships, how to reset your career. We're going to bring on top-notch scientists and world-class meditation teachers to give you deep insights and actionable advice. It's all delivered with our trademark blend of skepticism, humor, credibility, and practicality. 10% Happier is self-help for smart people. Come join the party.
Are you ready to take control of your life and join a community of like-minded women who are on a mission to live their best lives too? Healthier, happier, and wealthier? Then get ready to find the support and motivation you need to pursue your passions and goals. Get ready to develop the courage to step out of your comfort zone and try new things. Join the My Best Life Tribe membership today and unlock a world of opportunities, empowerment, and sisterhood. Our exclusive community offers courses, collaborations, workshops, events, and so much more. Don't wait any longer to start living your best life. Visit our website, www.drstemi.com, and become a part of something truly special. My Best Life Tribe, where women thrive together. www.drstemi.com.
Are you ready to bounce back?
Welcome to the Bouncing Back podcast with Dr. Stem, where resilience meets inspiration. Join us as we explore powerful stories of overcoming adversity, share expert insights, and discover the tools you need to bounce back in life. Whether you're facing challenges or seeking motivation, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, wherever you are, and welcome to the Bouncing Back podcast. And welcome to our beautiful guest, who is my sister, who is my Pisces colleague. Welcome, Dr. Stephanie.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, Dr. Stem. I'm so happy to be here.
So, is it Wautier? I mean,
It's,
want to
you
check
know,
it out.
if we were in Europe, it would be Wautier. It's Belgian. It's my husband's name. But in the United States, we say Wautier.
Wautier.
Yes.
Beautiful. So, do you go by Dr. Wautier or Dr. Stephanie, or what do you go by?
In my office, most people call me Dr. Stephanie.
Okay. I'll go with Dr. Stephanie because that's easier for me as well. Right? Dr.
Sounds good.
Dr. Stephanie. This is going to be
Look at this.
show.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and start off with just you telling us a little bit about your bio and who you
Yeah.
are. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, I always say that I'm a small town girl from the Midwest. I was born in a little town in Michigan, and I decided to get a very practical degree in nursing, even though I had always thought about becoming a chiropractor. But so I went to Michigan State and I got my BSN in nursing, and I worked in Lansing for a little while, and then I went on to become a traveling nurse, which I loved. But I knew at the end of the day that my soul's purpose wasn't being addressed. So at age 30, I went back to chiropractic school. I became a chiropractor, and I'm in year 18 as being a chiropractor.
Wow. So here's the thing, right? When I started the show, I mentioned that Dr. Stephanie is also a Pisces, and I'm a Pisces as well. Let me tell you, one of the things that we are very proud of as Pisces is we are fearless. And we will change, at the hit when everybody is going,
Yes.
wait a minute, why have you done this and changed that and do this? I know for me, I always say it's because if I don't try it, I'll never know. But have you
Yes.
had people that questioned you to say, why would you leave nursing? Nursing
Mhm.
is very lucrative
Mhm.
at the time when you changed.
Absolutely. So many people have asked me, like, why did you do this? And what's your reason? And I mean, I have a long story. I actually dedicated an entire podcast episode to sort of talk about why I made that choice. But it's very, very interesting about change and about being a Pisces and being quote unquote fearless. I had let my nursing license lapse all these years. I thought, why do I need it? And then about 5, 6 years ago, my friend and I, we started a med spa together, which I'm in the same space as a chiropractor as the med spa. And we were really needing somebody to do Botox and filler. And she said, maybe you could get your nursing license back. And that's what you could do like every other Friday. Now, that in and of itself was a challenge. I had to do all of the continuing education credit. I had to do a live in person, like nursing checklist. And then I had to retake my boards after, gosh, well, it was 30 years ago that I graduated with my BSN. So a few years ago, yeah, I had to retake my nursing boards and talk about fear, talk about overcoming something that you maybe didn't think you could do. And through that whole process, it sort of reinvigorated me to think we really can do anything we set our mind to do.
And that's the key right there. I always tell people that there is nobody and nothing that can change a made up mind. When you make up your mind that
Mhm.
you're going to do this or you're going to,
Yeah,
take a risk, nobody can, get in the way of that except yourself, which is what we call self sabotage. Have
absolutely.
you had moments in your life where you literally look back and you say, yeah, that was self-sabotage?
Oh, 1,000%. In fact, one of the things we're going to talk about today is the power of words. And I think that
Yes.
so many of us have this unfortunate tendency to have these negative thoughts, right? Whether it was a parent or a teacher or someone in your life growing up that put this unfortunate seed in, like, you can't do this. Like, my sweet geometry teacher said, Stephanie, you're just not good at math. Why don't you not take a senior math class? Well, as a 17-year-old girl, I was thrilled I didn't have to take like calculus or trigonometry. I had sort of reached the end of my math career, and I was thrilled about it because I really didn't like math. But now here we are all these years later. I'm a business owner, and I think I'm very good at math. I'm very good at the kind of math that matters in my life. But someone or something can put that negative seed in and it can become a tape that plays over and over. I think that's so unfortunate. You in your world see this probably more than I do. I don't address mental health directly. I'm not a mental health provider, but in this relationship with my patients, I do see sometimes, they say, well, that's my bad knee.
Mm.
Or, well, I can't do that. Or, well, I'm klutzy. Or, oh, I'm clumsy. Or, oh, I fall a lot. And, we know the power of life and death is in the tongue. And we know that our words become our reality. So sometimes we have to erase the negative tape in our mind, change those words, change what we say. Yeah, yeah,
Right, you're right. It's interesting because yours was a geometry teacher. Mine was a geography teacher. And the funny
really.
part, yeah, the funny part was I was in high school and this teacher was handicapped. She was in a wheelchair, but she was from the United States of America. And here I am in Zimbabwe. And she got so upset with me because I didn't, remember the contours, the rivers, and the states, because you were supposed to know the states and the memories. They would just give you a blank map. And then you're supposed to name the states, the rivers that are in there, and funny enough, the people, places like Boston, Florida, Michigan, with whatever the lakes they are in there. I couldn't remember it and I didn't know. And she's like, you will amount to nothing because
Mm,
you do not take your geography seriously. And I've been in the United States for 40 years. Bless her soul and her heart. But she actually pushed me to prove,
mm.
which is a Pisces thing too. You tell us we can't, we're gonna prove to you that we can. And
Yes.
say, not only did I need to memorize it and know it, but I went above and beyond and wanted to see this country that was, giving me these failures and all this, problems and headaches in class. And I got to live in the United States of America, and I travel a lot. So I pretty much visited most of the states in the
Mm,
United States just to see what river was that, in person, because it was such a pain, when I was there to study all of that. So, as you
mm,
say about the power of the words, I say this to remind people also to say those people that might say words to you that are painful, that are stressful, they might be the source of you finding out who you are, because now you
mm,
want to prove to yourself that, but I'm not that, and I'm not a failure, and I'm not
mhm.
ugly, and I'm not whatever the words may be.
Yes.
Twist, turn them around. It's all about perspective, right, Doc?
Yes, absolutely. And you're right. Sometimes those sharp words can be what is sharpening the knife for us to become, better people, more focused, more driven. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Sharp words could be sharpening. Isn't that interesting? That's a, that those are great words. I just wrote them down. So here's the thing. We
Yeah.
grow up and we are raised, right, with the notion of building relationships with others, being
Mhm.
respectful, making sure that you get along with others. And I know in my family was also about not embarrassing the family,
Mm,
representing the family. So you get to have all of that responsibility. And at some point, I realized the power of the relationship with yourself, building that
yes.
relationship with yourself. Have you found that in your life that was at some point, and how did you build that relationship with yourself?
Mm. Yeah, it's really interesting. I think, we talked last time about your education and your process. And I think that I was raised in a family very similar to yours. It was like, we are going to be an upstanding family. You're going to do right. You're going to be good. You're going to get an education. You're going to do this. And we sort of push ourselves to succeed, succeed, succeed. Right. And then it's time to get married, right? It's time to get married in life, and you crave that and you want that, and then you get married, and then you have children. And I think for women especially who are on this trajectory, there is oftentimes a lack of addressing who we are as ourselves, right? We have all these labels. We're a mother, we're a wife, we're a business owner, we're this, but like, who am I as Stephanie, and who are you as Dr. Stem? We are ourselves and our humanness without these titles, without these roles. And I think it was probably when my kids were like 6, 7, 8 that I started to think, gosh, who am I? And, I've always been a woman of faith, and I started doing this Christian life coaching, and we really addressed things like, what is our soul's purpose? And of course, my soul's purpose has always been to raise my beautiful children, to launch them, to make these two humans feel the kind of love that, we only hope a human could feel. But really at the end of the day, I think sometimes we don't address like what we need, who we are, what is our soul's purpose, because these beautiful little babies are going to be launched into the world, and I will be left home alone. No.
Yeah, well, hey, hey,
um,
yeah.
yeah, so I really started deep diving into that. And I've been definitely more aware, definitely more allowing myself to have like a vision beyond the vision, which is like Regan Hillier's words. But, like, who are we aside from all of this? Who are we at the end of the day? So
Yes.
it's a journey.
It's a journey, and thank you for that. So here's the thing as well, right? I remember when I used to live, out of those 40 years that I've been in America, probably the good 30 I can, attribute to being in Boston, Massachusetts area. So right now I'm in Florida, in Orlando, Florida. And guess
Mhm.
what? When I moved from Boston to Florida this last time, because I kept moving back and forth, but I said, you know what? I am not moving back to the cold and I am not, doing this again. But, as you mentioned, I'm also a woman of faith, and God in
Mhm.
his own, image created each one of us for a
Mhm.
reason. There's also a purpose in our lives. So I find
Mhm.
myself preparing to move back to Boston again, one more time.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
I hope one more time. But
Okay.
yeah, but I'm moving back to Boston. And I mentioned that because we are talking about we have to make time to find who we are, what our
Mhm.
purpose is,
Mhm.
on this earth, and
Yeah.
also how to fulfill that
Mhm.
purpose. But
Yes.
yeah, among the work that I have done, I probably will be remembered for inspiring, encouraging, and empowering people. But most of all, I'm seeing it now that I will be remembered for bridging the gap between parents and teenagers, because I did that.
Really?
I know I did that,
Wow.
dropped it, and then I said no. But when I go to Boston, every time I think of Boston, that's the work that I did the most there, working with teenagers and parents.
Mhm.
So now as I go back, I'm like, well, okay, do I want to do that or not? And it's like, no question, I just feel so much joy, because
Mhm.
adults have forgotten how to be childlike. And
Yes.
children are wondering, well, is it worth it being an adult? Because when I look at you, you all are miserable.
Yes. Absolutely.
you know? Yeah.
Yes.
So when we are talking about that, what are the lessons have you learned from your children? Because one of the things that I think
Mhm.
most parents forget to remember is that children are here to teach us about ourselves. So they're going to poke every button until your real self comes out. What have you learned?
Wow, I've learned so much. So, my daughter is, although like my dearest, sweetest, comrade in this world, very unlike me. She's very thoughtful and slow to process, and she's very kind of perfectionistic. I mean, she's a very talented musician. In fact, last night I just got to hear her in a concert, but she is not as emotional as I am. She's a little bit more stoic. And one of the things that I've really learned is that we have to there's a seed planted and we have to water them and nourish them with whatever they need, right? Like my daughter needs me to be patient with her. My daughter needs me not to expect her to create a certain emotion. My son is very much more like me, which as that mirror image, I think, why are you in such a hurry? Why are you so grumpy? And I think, oh my gosh, like that has been me in so many instances. I'm always in a hurry. I'm always doing things quickly. Well, not always, as we talk about the power of our words, but that has been my tendency, right?
Yes.
So it's like you have the mirror and then you have like the opposite, and I have only two children. So
Yes.
but so much of what I have learned is to like embrace the moment, embrace this portion of the journey, because kids are different at 2 and 6 and 10 and 16. And I have been given this amazing gift to have, knock on all the wood, the most glorious teenage years as a mother that a mother could ever hope for.
Oh,
Both of my kids have confided in me. Both of my kids have not rebelled to the point of me not knowing like what's going on in their life or where they are. Like we've maintained this really beautiful close relationship, and I think that all of the expectations that you have when you're like pregnant really have to fall away.
yeah.
You don't know what each child will need. You don't know what's going to happen to them in their life. You have to be flexible and willing to like literally bend with the wind for what they need at that time.
Yes, yes. I'm reminded of, a parent that I spoke to, and I mean, was so distraught about her children, and
Mhm.
of course surrounded in the community with every parent that is the power of words,
Mhm.
complaining and talking about their
Yes.
children and not doing well. And here she stood, she's like, I don't even know what to believe, because now I'm scared of the
Mhm.
influence that could be surrounding them,
Mhm.
right? But like you say, there's power of words, because then I
Mhm.
remember saying to her, what is it that you expect to see in your children?
Yes.
And I said,
Yes.
close your eyes and describe to me Mary, who's your firstborn. Describe to me John, who's your secondborn. Where do you see them? How do you
Mhm.
see them? What excites you about their future and their life? Let me
Mhm.
hear from you what your expectations are. So she goes, and closes her eyes and starts talking about these children. I said, as of
Mhm.
this moment, see them as that no matter what happens in their life, they can
Mhm.
come in and fall and fail, which is part
Mhm.
of their journey to that
Yes.
vision that you have. Celebrate them, embrace them, surround them with that hold,
Mhm.
that a mother's hold. 2 years, they'll be like, don't hold me that tight, let me go.
Yes. Yes. Well, and this is an interesting thing that you bring up too. We have these cultural norms, right? We have these sayings that we say, like, oh, the terrible twos, or oh, just wait for the horrible teenage years. So when we have the expectation that they're going to be horrible, when we have like a moody child who isn't in the mood to talk and we need to give them the space, we take it so personally. And if we have a child who makes a mistake and fails or gets sent to the principal's office, we take that as a hit to our own ego. And I think that's one thing I really learned. I read this beautiful book when I was sort of starting this more self journey, like, who am I? Who are they? We cannot rely on our children to feed our ego.
Mm,
Whether my daughter is the most beautiful, perfect first violinist, or whether she is last chair, whether she has, an unfortunate disability, or whether she's the next top model. Like, we can't rely on our children to feed our ego. We can't do that. We have to separate that. We are on this earth to help flourish and guide them, but whatever happens in their life, even though we try our hardest, it isn't a direct reflection on us, because they have their own will.
yeah.
They have their own decisions to make. They have their own journey to lead. So I think so many of us think, oh my gosh, whatever my kids do or don't do will represent me, like how you and I grew up,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But it's different. I think we're learning, we're evolving, we're becoming better to understand that um we can't take that on as credit either, right?
Yeah.
Like, someone might say, oh, your son, he's such a great athlete. I can't say I did that. Like, because I didn't. He's the one who was in the gym. He's the one counting his macros. He's the one making sure he gets all the protein.
That's right.
We can't take that on.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
What I love about the work that we do, especially, and I can stand on top of the mountain and say, especially those that are believers, is we also have the word to hold on to, right?
Mhm.
Because many a time when we look at life and, the word itself, it says, I know the plans that I have for you. So before
Mhm.
you were born, I already had the plans that I have for you. So when we
Mhm.
remember that even our children, there's a plan already that was for them that has nothing to do with me, right?
Mhm.
That I don't
Yes.
even know, but I'm here to support that
Yes.
journey, to support, I mean, that formulation until the child or the children get to know themselves, get to
Mhm.
understand what their purpose is, and get to
Mhm.
understand what their passion is, that
Yeah.
it's just freeing to know that.
It is freeing, and I think it's comforting as well to know that, we serve a God who loves our children even more than we can imagine loving them.
Yes.
And when we trust in him to protect our children, that gives us sort of this sigh of relief. Like, I told my daughter the other day, I said, I wish I could protect you in every situation, but I can't. Every parent, we want to hold them so tight and wrap them in bubble wrap, but that isn't going to create what their purpose is on earth. I
Yes.
remember hearing two mothers at a playground. One mother saying, "Be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful. Don't go too high on the slide." Like that kind of mothering doesn't create a child who is going to launch big and bright and beautiful into the world. Like it's the mothers who I mean, I can tend to be a worrier. I'm not saying I've achieved this, but the mothers who allow their child to go all the way up to the top of the slide, figure it out, take the risks, see what it feels like to slide all the way down. Those are the kids that will be more successful in life.
What an analogy. I love that. I love that. Despite your fears, allow them to
Mhm.
grow, allow them to experience life, and allow them to also fail and fall. Because in the getting
Mhm.
up, which is now my movement, the bouncing back, in the bouncing
Yes.
back is
Yes.
where the strength is. That's where they learn who they are and, what their purpose in the world is.
Mhm.
What is your daughter's name, by the way? Sorry.
Sonia.
Sonia, I want to give you just, a hand clap because I listened to her interview
You
of
did.
Mommy. What? Brilliant, brilliant. So here's the thing, Sonia. When you get some free time, start your own podcast for the children that
Oh.
are with there. Because she was really good. I really loved listening to her. So I can only imagine if she were to do one of her peers and interview,
Oh.
yeah, young people like her, and also what they are learning, how they're formulating into themselves. Because she was brilliant. So I know she's gonna watch this,
Oh.
and hopefully she will take that baton when she has time and just do a podcast herself as well, because yeah, she's brilliant. She was brilliant.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Stem. Thank you.
Yeah. So I know you and I are Pisces, and Pisces people, we talk a lot and we could talk for days and days.
Yes,
So
yes.
I want to have some fun with you and just dig into your personal life, real
Okay.
quick, and just ask some personal questions just to see who you really are and how you really truly have evolved in your life. You ready?
Okay. Yes, ready.
What does living a fulfilling life mean to you?
Mm. Well, fulfilling, I think, is really like starting with like, what is your soul's purpose and where are you on your journey? So for me, like living a fulfilled life means that I'm following my soul's journey. I'm doing the things that I need to do in my job, in my life, in my profession. And that at this moment in my life, I am really truly pouring in as much to my children as I can, and my partner, my spouse, my family, my friends. Like um that might sound like I'm rambling on, but I think that fulfilled means so many things. But at the end of the day, if you know what you were called to do and who you're called to be, and you're living that and applying that, then you're fulfilled.
Yes, yes. It's so individual.
Yes.
It's an individual definition, because
Mhm.
then, I mean, I know for us as business women and entrepreneurs, we might be, going, oh, if you have your own business and if you do this and do that, that's not the
Mhm.
only way to be fulfilled with life.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to sort of piggyback on that. So when I got pregnant for my daughter, my son was like a year old. So I knew they were going to be pretty close together. And I really wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Like I really, really, really wanted to be with them. And I took out so much student loan debt, and my husband said, we just really can't manage that financially. So I had this grieving heart, right? I had this grieving heart for years and years. Like, I can't be with my kids enough. They're going to live a worse life because I'm not a stay-at-home mom. And that has been one of the biggest things that in my like last 18 years that I've really had to transition from being a grieved working mother to there was like this epiphany that I had. I read this quote that said, your children are best off if they see an example of like you living your best life.
Yes.
So instead of me thinking, oh my gosh, like I have to punish myself for working, and I have to feel sad that I'm not making like this gourmet meal, I'm putting food in the crock pot, and I had to forgive myself, and I had to go through that process of grief. In fact, one day my daughter said, stop beating yourself up about it. We're fine. And like what a beautiful thing for her to like give me permission to forgive myself because and again, the power of words, right? I had this narrative like they would be better off if I was a stay-at-home mom. Like I'm working too much and I never would have started a podcast had I not like had that epiphany and read that quote that when we are fulfilling our soul's journey and doing what God has called us to do, that is a better example to our kids
Yes.
than anything, than anything.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart just melted when I heard that. Ah, stop stressing, mommy. We are
Mhm.
fine. Don't
Yes.
worry about it. We are
Mhm.
fine. And don't they just speak to you every day in different ways? And many
Yes.
a time, I think as adults, we are always on the go, 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 and worry strikes and we come down. And by the way, you mentioned, oh, I only have two. I don't have any of my own birth,
Mm,
but I have been blessed beyond measure to be a part of many children, many adults,
mm.
throughout my lifetime that I cannot sit here and say I am not a mother. So that's,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, because I have been given an opportunity to be a part of mothering many, many children,
Mm.
nieces, nephews, as well as, children in the community from around the world, which has been more than a blessing to me as well.
And we biological mothers and fathers, we need those aunties.
Yeah.
We need those adopted mamas and those adopted grandparents because we can't do it all. We
Yes.
we really can't. We can't be the end all be all. And my daughter literally just introduced two of my friends as their aunties, as her aunties.
Oh,
And yeah, we have the blood relation and then we have the people who are our family, no
yes.
matter what. And then we have those people who have been like a mother figure, like a father figure. Like, yeah, you're pouring into these children and these families, these lives. And yeah, biological or not, you've been a mom.
Yes. And for all of you that are listening and watching, I'm not just an aunt, and my nieces and nephews will tell you I am the filthy rich aunt. And that's the power of words.
I love it.
You should see, you should see my sister, one of my sisters has a granddaughter now, and she's 7 years old, and she runs, she said, filthy rich auntie, filthy rich auntie. I'm like, yeah, girl, you're my filthy rich niece. The power of words. Speak it.
Yes.
Yeah, you speak it, even if you are not it, speak it until it becomes real. So I know before I leave this
Yes.
earth, I will have proven that yes, I am the filthy rich auntie.
I love that. I love that.
So talking about, life in itself and successes, what fears have held you back and how have you overcome them?
Mm. Oh, wow. Yeah, lots of fears. I think we're constantly addressing our fears. Um, I mean, just really deep down, the fear of failure, the
Yes.
fear that I can't do it, the fear of, even in a relationship, like the fear that it won't work or the fear that we can't conquer something or I mean every single day I'm addressing fears like it's a lot to go on camera, even, right?
Really?
Like, yes, the fear of being judged,
Yeah.
the fear of people saying, oh, you're too much, or oh, you've gained weight, or you look old, or, like there's the fear of judgment, I think, every day. Yeah.
I don't struggle with that at all. Because
Really?
here's my formula for being on camera and doing this thing that I do here. I love doing it. But then here's the thing. I have, learned to give attention to those that need my attention. I've learned
Mhm.
to, pay attention to showing up for that one. I show up on camera for one person,
Mm.
not for the likes. not for those that
Mhm.
will listen to 2 minutes, but every
Mhm.
time I find that if I put a video out, if I put an interview out, it was meant for one person, and I
Yeah.
target one person, that, you know what, somebody's going to need this, and someone is
Mhm.
going to need me showing up despite gaining weight, losing weight, being
Yeah.
sick, not having a good hair day, and not having a good eye that time or voice that time. But
Mhm.
somebody's going to be inspired, encouraged, and empowered to say, if she could show up looking like that, or if she could say things like that, what she just said, I think I can do it too. I'm just gonna show
Yeah.
up too. So that
Yeah.
has been the thing that has helped me to stand in front of hundreds and thousands. People are like, you spoke before 3,000. I said, yes, I've spoken 3,000. But guess what? I was in front of one person. I looked around the
Mm.
audience and I said, that one seems to be looking at me and really attentive and listening. That
Mhm.
was the person, even though I look at everyone else, there's that gentleman or that, lady that's in the audience that I want to make sure that she really, truly gets what she came here
Mhm.
for, because she was open and I can see that she's hungry to hear what does she have to share. So when I wake up every day and I do the work that I do, I know that it is for a purpose. And once you know
Yeah.
that you are here for a purpose, God has
Mhm.
already ordained your day, your moments, your time, and every appointment that you will have. So my
Yeah.
is to show up. You know me, you've seen me. I show up.
You do show up. I love it. And I think it's you are such an inspiration for women too, because you are so bold and you've conquered those fears, and your courage just shines through. Your comfort in front of the camera shines through. And you do have such a beautiful message to share with people. Yeah. And you're right. Sometimes we have to get out of our own way. I mean, yeah, we have to, we really, fear can stop us from fulfilling our purpose,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. And we shouldn't be amiss. It's very normal to be afraid. It's very
Mhm.
normal to be fearful. So I don't want people to think that, oh, so you're saying that we shouldn't be afraid. Oh, yeah. Be afraid and do it anyway.
Amen. Yes. Absolutely. Yep.
Right? Yeah.
You
S-
know, yeah, yeah. Do it afraid. Do it when you don't feel perfect. Do it when you don't feel especially the most comfortable. Just just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do it
Yeah.
afraid.
So my movement is bounce back.
Yes.
And I started it during the pandemic, as I mentioned. For those of you that follow me, I
Mhm.
started it because I did not know or believed that I could bounce back. And again,
Really.
power of our of our thoughts, the power of our words, our mindset help me to remember to say, you know what, let me be invested in this bounce back so that I can believe that I'll be here way
Mhm.
before, way after this pandemic comes, that it's not going to touch me prayerfully. But if it does, I want to know that I was, doing my work and I did my purpose and I fulfilled, the work that I was supposed to do. But at that point, when COVID was here, I'm like, I haven't even started yet. So how can I have
Wow.
fulfilled, my purpose? No, I'm going to bounce
Wow.
back. And,
Mm.
I say bounce back. Yes, I can. Yes, I will. Yes, yes, yes. So
Mm.
you hearing that, do you remember of any one moment or one incident where you said, you know what, I had to bounce back? Because we have lived life and probably have many, many moments where you've fallen down and you needed to
Mm.
bounce back.
Oh my gosh, countless times. I actually have been going through some different changes in my practice. I use this one tool. It's called the Pro Adjuster, and we've had some insurance, and it broke. It broke like the same time that Blue Cross made these insurance changes that have made it like almost impossible for me to continue to bill that insurance company. And I feel like right now I have been in like the second worst, hardest month of my chiropractic career. But and so I haven't bounced back yet. I'm gonna bounce. I'm bouncy. But previously, it was probably about 10 years.
Okay.
One of my very, very dear friends who worked with me in the office embezzled from me. And yeah, the level of the level of, I don't even want to, like, I crashed to the ground in every sense of the word. I mean, to think that your friend could do this, and then to have to deal with the financial loss, and
Yeah.
to wonder if you can even recover from it.
Yes.
I called my attorney, I called the insurance company. I was like, is there any, ramification? Can I get any of this money back? And my attorney said, you have two choices, Stephanie. You can spend every ounce of your energy to try to get this money back, or you can spend every ounce of energy to try to save your business. And I definitely chose the latter. But it was in the 2 years following that. So spending like every day, every week, trying to just, go through the books and figure out the billing and see, what we needed to do. But it was the 2 year process after that to forgive her
Yes.
that was the most pivotal probably time in my adult life, because forgiveness doesn't come easy.
Yes.
Well, see, I shouldn't say that. Forgiveness can be really difficult. And one of my sisters said, wow, has that changed you? And I said, it's changed me forever. It's changed me forever. I'm the kind of person who trusts you right away. You're innocent until proven guilty. I can see the good in people. Um, that has perhaps made me a little bit more vulnerable as a business owner. But you know what? The bounce back was not in justice,
Mm.
but in forgiveness.
Mm.
Because we can't always
Yeah.
be proven right. We can't. I mean, I wanted to shout it from the rooftops. Like, you go into that victimhood. Like, I was a victim. I was stolen from. Like, this person is going to walk away, and there's no ramification, and I'll never get that money back. Like, you can go into victimhood, or you can become a victor. And I chose to become a victor. But in order to do that, I needed to forgive, because, there's actually a Mark Twain quote that I love that says, forgiveness is the fragrance of the violet that is shed when the foot steps on it. I'm not saying it correctly, but,
Yes. Yes.
we can't drink the poison expecting the other person to die.
I know.
So
Correct.
that was a really, really, really hard time in my life.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
I bounced back, not quickly,
Yes.
not gracefully,
Yes.
not happily. It
Yes.
was a tough season,
Yes.
but I do like to encourage people, if you're having like the lowest day, and, we think about all these people who have these circumstances that are horrible, and they think of killing themselves. They think of taking their life. I say his mercies are new every morning. Just wait till the morning. The night seems dark. The night seems cold. The night seems empty. But just wait for the morning,
Yes.
because there is hope. There is better days ahead.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing that. And I want to add on, not only because I'm a mental health professional, but let me tell you, mental health matters and it's real, and counseling helps because even I, as a counselor who's been a counselor for nearly 30 years now, I
Mhm.
do have counselors that I have worked with for
Mhm.
myself as the patient, where I'm
Yes.
sitting on the couch and there is a therapist there. And
Yes.
that is what brings me to smile every day, to be happy
Mhm.
and joyful every day, because I have moments where I get to work through my own problems that I have in life. And that
Yes.
gives me joy because now when I show up to help those that come to me for help, I don't have baggage that I am projecting onto
Yes.
them,
Yes.
right? But counseling helps.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been in therapy, mental health therapy, many times in my life. Um, and I'm actually married to a psychologist.
Ah, me too.
um, I believe that every single one of us, we really, really, we can't look in the mirror and know what needs to be done all the time. We really need, a lot of times in our life, maybe continuously, maybe always, to have that professional that can help to guide us. you know. In fact, so many of the things that I'm speaking about, so many of the things that I've learned
Yes.
have about myself and about how to be a better mother, how to be a better person, how to be a better wife, how to be my highest self. They have come because of the therapists that I've seen throughout my time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
on this earth.
And I always also, give the analogy of a car, right? As a
Mm,
reflection of who we are in our body and spirit. That I have never heard or seen a person that drives their car year after year, month after month without changing the oil, the
yes.
engine, the tires, even the wipers, the oil and everything. So our bodies are like that. Our minds are also in need of
Yes.
where when we
Yes.
meet with someone and talk to someone, it's almost like that change that needed to be changed, whether it's the tire, the oil, the car runs much better. So the soul,
Mhm.
the spirit, and the body and the person runs much better when you've had an open, a time to be open and also talk
Yes.
to a neutral person that is non-judgmental, but that gives you that safe space to be able to figure out how do I handle this moment, this situation, and how do I show up with the shame, the guilt, the anger, the pain that I'm having right now. How do I show up and how do I make every day count, for me,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if you have the best support system, and even if you're married to a psychologist like I
I
am,
know.
I always say, you can't be my therapist.
Yep.
Like we have a different relationship. Like, yeah, I need that neutral party. I need that person who's looking at these situations from
Yes.
the outside. Um, I so value my connection with my clients, and yeah, I can't be the best chiropractor, the best med spa owner, the best whatever, unless I am, utilizing the professionals in my life to help me continue to be better and better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
want to, just, also reiterate on what you mentioned about forgiveness because that is
Mm.
big, and thank you for bringing that up. And I just wanted to add on to say what I learned in my life and also my work with, the individuals that I've worked with throughout the years is forgiveness is a gift to yourself. So
Yes.
many people, and I know the pain is different levels, and
Mhm.
what was done at different levels. Some that are deeper than others that you just don't find, why you should
Mhm.
forgive that person because it's almost like giving them a freebie to walk through the earth, right? But I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
remind everyone, yeah, that forgiveness is a
Mhm.
gift to self. When you
Mhm.
are working with forgiveness, it's almost like you are now giving yourself a choice. Do I want to continue to hurt myself? That person hurt me, those people hurt me, that situation hurt me. But then by not forgiving, I will be hurting myself even deeper and more. So
Yeah.
when you forgive, it's a choice that you have made to yourself, help
Mhm.
yourself heal, and also help
Yes.
yourself make the most of the rest of the days that you have.
Absolutely. There's so much now research and talk about how much what we say, what we think, what we do emotionally, mentally is affecting us physically. And, very anonymously, I'll share I had a patient many, many years ago who was in a car accident. Her
Mm.
husband was driving. She felt like he was driving too fast. She felt like he was driving um erratically.
Yes.
She blamed him for the accident. She blamed him for her health problems. She struggled and struggled and struggled year after year after year, and probably very wrongly, I probably shouldn't have done this as a chiropractor, but woman to woman, human to human, I said, you are never going to get better until you forgive him or leave him. Because that that physical scarring was she was holding on to that unforgiveness, and she
Yes.
was holding on to that pain, and she was holding on to the bitterness. And when we do that, our physical bodies will be affected. Like every single thing that we think, believe, or say is affecting our physical bodies. And yeah, that's another part of. You probably have a question for me, but that's another part of this power of the words. Like
Yes.
sometimes people get a diagnosis of a physical condition, and they they bring that into themselves as a part of their identity. Like, I have rheumatoid arthritis. I am rheumatoid arthritis. Like, instead of like, I am Stephanie, I am a human. I don't, by the way, but that's just an example.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
we bring these things on into our identity, and it's sort of like taking a backpack and making it heavier and heavier when it really didn't need to be. So the work that you do is so profound and so beautiful, and the work that I do, sometimes I have to remind people, what you're thinking and believing, or the bitterness or the unforgiveness, or whatever. We see this a lot with veterans who fought in war. In fact, there's a book called The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk.
Mm,
When we have trauma, whether it's physical, emotional, it does stay in our bodies. And we do have to address it on every single level.
yes.
We have to address it physically. Sometimes people will cry when they're getting adjusted and they'll say, I just don't even know where this is coming from. I don't know. And I say, you needed to release this, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. And I said, take that as a gift of what your innate knew that you needed in that moment.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Doc, for that. And what's pretty much also what you're saying is, physical weight is, uh, related in relation to emotional weight. I don't know what the word is I want to
Yes.
use,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
correlate. They correlate emotional and physical weight.
Yes, yes. Like, sometimes I say, like, if you think of a muscle fiber and you think of all those fibers, we can't pull apart the muscle without acknowledging that somewhere there was some spiritual, mental, physical stuff combined in there. Like, if you put your hands on someone's shoulders and they're so tight, they say, "Oh, I've had such a stressful day." Well, it's not because someone hit them in the back, it's because their stressful emotional state created muscle tension, trauma, pulling.
Yes.
We can't take one without the other.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
As we were talking, this is the longest interview that I have done on any of my podcasts.
Sorry.
No, 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 no. I'm usually like, 30 minutes so that we can capture, but I can guarantee you that whoever is going to listen to this podcast, right, they are also not going to know that an hour went by, because we have touched each and everything that we thought possible that would help every man, woman who's trying to shift from where they are to where they belong and who they really truly are. So I'm really thankful and grateful that you gave me the time to do that with you today.
Mm. Well,
And
I'm grateful that I'm grateful for you.
thank you. I definitely want to do more of these with you. I do have a group of women. We have a women program in the Bounce Back Academy, which is my best life tribe. And what I do
Mm.
is I bring different professionals that also come to talk to the women and to talk to us about different aspects of our lives that can help us to be the best version of ourselves, to also be
Mm.
able to get to that place where you can say, I am ready to forgive, or I am
Mm.
ready to move forward with forgiveness, or whatever
Mm.
it is that they're going on in life. So I definitely will be inviting you to be one of our guests to present, because I know you have a lot that you could share with the ladies and myself, as well as us share with you as well in the group.
I would love that. Thank you so much for that invitation.
Yes, I'm not going to let you go without one more question.
Okay.
What's the one thing that you want to be remembered for?
Oh, wow. That's a big question.
I know.
You know, every single patient that walks in my doors, I want them to remember that I changed their life some way. Whether it was something small, like I, reminded them to take magnesium to help with their headaches, or whether it was something profound. Like, I mean, I'm going to get teary eyed. One of my patients who actually moved away, she had a child with special needs, and I don't even remember this day. I don't even remember this visit, but she said, Stephanie, I'm going to include you in my book because one day during my adjustment, you asked me, have you grieved? And she said, grieved what? And I said, grieved the expectation of having a perfect child, grieved the expectation of what this was going to look like. And she said that opened the floodgates, that opened the beginning of her healing from having this lovely, beautiful child with special needs. So I don't remember that day. She reminded me of it. But what I want to be remembered for is that with every person that was brought into my life, I was able to give them like a drop of something that they needed at the moment.
Yes, yes, yes. I just want to remind you, Doc, you are a Pisces, I am a Pisces. This is our season. May your
Mhm.
light continue to shine. May you remember that everything that you've been building, this is the season that everything is coming together. And for those that have watched you, they are inspired, encouraged, and just continue to see you blossom, especially that little queen that you're raising. She is so proud of you, and your son is proud, the husband is proud, but it's time for us to be proud of ourselves, to also embrace the work that we have consistently done for others to see. But now it's time for us to see and for us to believe, and everything is working out. So no matter what is going on around you, no matter how it looks like, I want to gently remind you to believe in yourself and know that this is your season. Now you don't have to struggle and you don't have to worry, because it's all going to work out together. And I want to hear that testimony within this next week. You and I are in touch. Let me know what the universe, what God has done to open up, for you to know and continue to believe that it is possible. And yes, you'll bounce back no matter what. Okay.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that word. Thank
Okay.
you, Dr. Stem.
Okay, okay. So let's do this again. And members and everybody who's been watching, thank you so much. This is Dr. Stem and my good Dr. Stephanie. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the Bouncing Back Podcast with Dr. Stem. We hope you found today's episode inspiring and packed with valuable insights. Remember, no matter the challenges you face, resilience is within your reach. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Join us next time for more stories of strength and perseverance. Until then, keep bouncing back.